All right, let's talk about how humans impact the environment. This last section is a small section of our notes. It's chapter 22 in your book if you'd like to read it. This is about human impacts. So let's first talk about global warming or what's called the greenhouse effect. I'll give you a regular explanation of the greenhouse effect so you can understand what it is. Right now, we're experiencing some warmer weather in San Diego, and we have warm weather. Your car might be sitting outside in the warm sun. So, sun is shining down on your car. Your car windows are closed. So, what happens when you come up to your car after it's been sitting out in the sun with the windows closed? Well, you open up the car and you get hit by tremendous amounts of heat. For example, on a day where it's about 80, 85 degrees Fahrenheit, it might get up to 115 and 120, 125 inside of your car. It's extremely hot. Your car basically is a perfect example of the greenhouse effect or global warming in this case. So, what's happening in your car? Well, light can penetrate your windows very easily. It shines right through. When that light, so this is showing you light right here passing through the atmosphere. Okay, light can pass through the atmosphere very easy. Gases are transparent, so light can pass through transparent objects. So light passes through. As the light passes through, it hits the earth. When it hits the earth, it gets turned into heat. Heat is red for infrared. That's a fancy word for heat. And that so that the light passes through the atmosphere, strikes the earth, and the earth gets warmer. Well, what happened to your car? Light went through your windows and then it hit your upholstery, your dashboard, all the inside parts of your car. They get really warm, and that's the heat. That's infrared. Now your windows are closed, so the heat cannot escape your car. Your car gets extremely warm. So what's happening to the earth is light is passing through the atmosphere, striking the earth and turning into infrared. But a lot of that infrared, some of it escapes the atmosphere, but a lot of it is getting transmitted back and reabsorbed. So what's happening is the atmosphere is basically like glass around the earth. What are humans doing? We're taking that glass, which it isn't glass, but we're taking that atmosphere and we're making it thicker with gases that trap more and more heat. The biggest contributor to all that, the biggest contributor to this is carbon dioxide. And we mentioned earlier, carbon dioxide is released when we burn stuff. This is the biggest creator of carbon dioxide. Burning fossil fuels, burning anything, combustion is going to release CO2. So we burn so much here on Earth that we are releasing excessive amounts of CO2, and that CO2 is now trapping in a lot of this heat that can't make its way out to space. So it's getting re-emitted back towards the Earth. The Earth is gradually getting warmer and warmer over time. This is the greenhouse effect. Have you ever been into a plant greenhouse? It may be chilly outside but sunny, and you'll walk into a greenhouse and it'll be extremely warm inside of the greenhouse. It is basically made out of plexiglass. Light can penetrate the plexiglass, and then hits all the plants and everything in your greenhouse. Then it gets turned into infrared, and now it can't escape through the plexiglass. So now the heat gets trapped in that area. By the way, there's other gases that trap heat too, but the biggest contributor is CO2. Water is a naturally occurring thing, and water is in the air already, and water vapor is considered what's called a greenhouse gas. So CO2, water, methane, and there are other things also that are greenhouse gases. Second phenomenon, ozone layer. Well, let's talk about what ozone is. Ozone is a layer of gases about 20 kilometers. That's about 12 miles above the Earth, 12, 13 miles above the Earth. Above the Earth, this ozone sits up there. It's O3. O2 is what we breathe. This O3 is sunscreen of the Earth. What does it do? It blocks a lot of this dangerous ultraviolet light from striking the Earth. Why is ultraviolet light dangerous? Well, it causes mutations in DNA that can lead to cancer. So skin cancer is prevalent. It's very common, and that's because we're out in the sun a lot and we're not protecting our skin, basically. What's happening to ozone? Well, ozone can get destroyed. How does ozone get destroyed? When certain chemicals react with it, when certain chemicals react with ozone layer, those chemicals can break it down. And what they do is they turn the ozone from O3 and they turn it into O2, oxygen gas. So they basically get rid of ozone, make oxygen gas, and now the Earth is not as protected, basically. And by the way, I don't know why this picture is here. This picture is showing you greenhouse effect. So this is not ozone thinning. This was a mistake on my part. But this shows you light penetrating carbon dioxide, hitting the Earth, and getting blocked. Okay, so the heat is now coming back to the Earth. So this is showing you greenhouse effect. This is not ozone thinning. Ozone layer protects us from ultraviolet light. What destroys the ozone layer are chemicals called CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons. They turn ozone into O2. You have less ozone, you have less sunscreen. Finally, the last human impact is acid rain or acid precipitation. Well, let's do a review. 7 is neutral, pure water. Okay. Normal rain is around 5.5 to 6.0. So normal rain is a little acidic. You should expect it to be acidic. But even though it's a little acidic, it's not acid rain generally until it drops below 5. This is when it becomes a problem. When it gets below 5, now you're having a problem with acid rain. So rain in general is around a 5.5 or 5.6 is normal rain. And then below 5 is where you have acid rain. And the 4s usually. What causes acid rain? Well, we burn stuff. They release, and we burn them in our cars. Our cars do this too. Our cars are probably because we burn fuel. Whenever we burn stuff, this has to do with burning again. This isn't carbon dioxide like greenhouse effect. This is other things that get released. So carbon dioxide is one of the emissions that is released during burning. Well, burning things also release sulfur and nitrogen oxides in the air. Here's nitrogen. Here's sulfur getting released. When you burn coal, you release a lot of sulfur to the air. When you burn, for example, gas in your car, a lot of nitrogen compounds get released to the air. The nitrogen compounds form nitric acid rain. The sulfur compounds form sulfuric acid rain. Sulfuric and nitric acid are strong acids that can do some serious damage, basically. So they get released during burning, nitrogen oxides, sulfur oxides. They react with the water that's already naturally in the air. They form sulfuric and nitric acids, and they fall back to the earth. What does it do? It destroys forests. Fish die. It creates an environment. For example, lakes can get down to 4.0 pHs that are very dangerous. The fish can't survive that environment. So and they erode buildings and do all kinds of other things and destroy roots and all kinds of plant life. So acid rain, not good for plant life, not good for fish. All right. And now we're done.